What's up, guys? It's another day here on SPPTV. I'm hoping today to get a bunch of stuff done. I got an OBD2 port, gonna wire that up, start working on the fuel lines. I got some fittings to hook up the fuel pressure gauge, and who knows what else we might get into. So let's get to it. I went to the junkyard, I got an OBD2 port. This is it right here. One wire goes to constant power, one goes to the computer, and then there's two grounds. You can just hook those together. I'm just trying to figure out right now where to put it. I actually have the fuse box and everything dropped out. I try to figure out exactly where I want to put this. I'm kind of thinking I'm gonna mount it sort of like right there. You know, when the glove box is closed, I don't want you to see any of this stuff, have it kind of hidden. So that's kind of where I'm thinking. I also got relay and fuse combo here for the electric fan. I'll put it right here. I have room, and then the relays will be all together. So I'm gonna figure out exactly where to put this and drill a few holes and mount this up. So I got the relay for the fan ran, and that runs to a wire that comes out of the computer. So the computer actually will control the fan at a predetermined temperature. It will turn on. If I find that that doesn't work good or something, I can always it's just one wire snip and then run it to a switch or run it to key power or whatever I'd like to do. I also got the OBD2 port ran. So there's the OBD2 port right there. So, you know, I should have no problem plugging in to it. And there's the other relay right there. So pretty much that whole relay box is run now. Everything's done except for, if you see here, there's the tack wire and then the check engine light wire. And then down here is the TCC for the lockup that goes to the brake. And this one down here goes to the fan, which is actually, the fan wire is right here. I can't run that wire yet because it runs through the fender, so it's just sitting there, so I can't hook that up yet. And then I also have to hook up the wire to the fuel pump to control the fuel pump. So pretty much that is all done now. So now we can move on to some other stuff under the hood and the fuel lines and getting the fuel system ready and getting this thing ready to run. So to fix the fuel pressure gauge, and I'll be able to see it, I just got some brass fittings from Home Depot. Basically just this fitting and a 90, and that got the gauge pointing up where I can see it. That worked out pretty good. What I'm doing right now is securing the fuel lines. I got to make sure they're out of the way of the steering column. So I'm going to put it here, and then I'm just going to drill and put a self-tapping screw in there with one of these P-clamps, rubber insulated clamps. And then I'll probably put another one on the -6 line also to get it down there. And then once it's under the truck, then I'll figure out where I can secure it. And there you go. So there's one there and one there, holding it nice and tight. Of course, this wire will be tucked up like under here over top of the steering column once the steering column's back in. I think that's gonna hold it nice. And then when it goes down to the frame there, then I'll have to secure it down at the frame also. So I'm under the truck here, screwing out the fuel lines. And then I realized that the body mount bushing here, not the bushing I should say, but this mount has got a big rust spot in it. It's all rusted like where this bolts to. And it's really weird because I guess at one point I must have changed these because these are actually polyurethane bushings. So I must have changed them. I don't remember when that was. So the bolt came out no problem. I definitely need to fix that. I'm hoping it's not too bad so I don't have to like buy one. I can just repair it with some steel. But of course, like usual, you know, get one thing done and find something else to do. I mean, really I could leave it, but I'd like to have it fixed so that the body sits nice on the chassis. So now I'm gonna jack that up and get that bushing out of there and take a look. Well, now that I got the bushing out of there, it's not quite as bad as I thought. There's a rust hole right here, but the front half and here is pretty solid. So it's pretty much just this area here. I mean, obviously the proper way to do it would be to change out that mount. Plus the floor also needs to be fixed too. It's been repaired before at one point, but it needs to be redone. But I have enough stuff to do that I'm just gonna patch it for now, and then one of these days I'll do, you know, the whole body will get fixed up good, but I'm just gonna fix it to make this stiff again. So I'm just gonna make a nice plate that goes on here, weld it on, and she'll be good as new. So when you got something like this, a good way to do it is to get a piece of cardboard, put it in there, and pretty much just rub it, the cardboard, over the edge of what you're trying to remake, like this. And then when you pull it out, there'll be a dirt mark. You just cut that out, and that's the size of the piece that you need to make. I don't know if you can see that. This was my cardboard template, which I bent up. Goes like this, because I'm going to have it wrap around. There's some rust on the front spot too. And so I just transferred it onto the metal. And so now I have to bend it, which is simple as putting it in here and just bending it. And pretty much you could make a whole new one of these just like that if you needed a whole new one. Of course, this has to be test fit. Pretty much that's going to be it. I'll have to drill a hole in the middle for the bolt. And then that should just fit up there and weld her in and give some strength back to that spot. So we'll go give her a test fit. Alright, so there you can see the piece in. It just has to be welded. I bolted it all back together so that it'll hold it all together. I mean, this isn't a permanent fix. It's kind of a temporary. Obviously, it would be better to change it, but for right now, this will hold it nice and strong until I can replace it, you know, next winter or something. Probably put a floor pan and this piece in there. So all I'll do is I'll weld it around here, and that'll be that. Alright, so there you can see it all patched up and sealed and painted to keep it from rusting. So that looks pretty good. There's one hole in the floor, kind of like where the seat bolts that I'm going to have to fix now. And then, like I said, maybe next winter I will put a floor pan in there. As you can see by looking at the floor, it's pretty rusty. But I already did patch it at one point, so all this is just surface rust, except for right there and right there. So I'll just make a piece that fits on here for now, just to fill these holes up, and then leave this for another day. I'm not sure if I'm going to do this today or not, but I'm going to decide. Alright, so it's a few days later, a couple days later I guess, and I'm out here working on the truck again. What I'm doing right now is the proportioning valve. This is the one I bought from AliExpress. I've already had it in the truck. I made a hole in the floor, so this part here is going to stick up into the floor so that when I want to adjust it, I can just reach down and adjust it. I made a bracket here, right here, just painting it right now. It's going to bolt to the frame where the brake hose goes, brake line, steel brake line, and that will hold the proportioning valve. And then it just connects to the original line and that braided line that I got off the newer S10. So I'm just waiting for this bracket to dry, and I'll put it on, and then I'll show you how that looks. You can see, there it is. Here's the line coming up, and the bracket that I made that just bolts right there. So that's in there. Like I said, I can access it through the floor to do any adjustments. So now I'm going to put the fuel lines back on and bolt them back onto the firewall, and then start running them down and connecting them to the frame. You can see the fuel pressure regulator, which I'm sure I've shown before with that bracket that I made. So this is the -8, this is the -6 return, and then if you look, it runs down here. I got a couple of these clamps holding it. Then it goes down kind of beside the brake lines, and then it goes down under the truck, and then I'll show you what it looks like under there. So you can see I ran it down there. I put this piece of rubber there just because it's kind of close to the floor, just to secure it. And then it runs along, I don't know if you can see, it just goes along the frame. I pretty much just use zip ties because there's not a lot of places to like bolt it. This is the return line, which is going to run into here. Now I have to take this sender out, cut this out of here, and add one of these in a tube like this. I have to solder it in there, which I've done before. This one actually was soldered in and it worked out really good. So I gotta do the same with this one, so that it's got two ends like this. This is a -8 and this will be the 6 next to it. And then I have this fuel filter, which is -8, and this piece of line with a 90 on it, or sorry, 45. And that's gonna go from here down to here. Filter's gonna mount right here somewhere, so that's what I'm gonna do now is figure out how to mount the filter, and I'm gonna mount the filter right there. So what I did is I just used, I had those rubber insulated clamps from my Nova when I put the fuel system together, but I never used them. So I just put a couple self-tapping screws to hold it in, and then here's the line, goes to the tank, and then I already marked the -6 return. So pretty much what I gotta do is take this, or I have other pieces, and I gotta cut this off, fit this in here, solder it on. But I'm gonna make this one longer because I'm gonna make it come out to about here, probably to about right here, and then have a fitting that goes down is my plan. So I still have to pull this out and do that, but I ordered a fuel pump, so I'm waiting on it to come. It should be here in a week or so, or maybe even sooner, hopefully, and then I'll be able to put the fuel pump in and finish the fuel system, and then basically it's pretty much ready to start once that happens. I mean, I could get it running with the pump that's in there. It is a Walbro 255, so it would be fine, and maybe I will. We'll see what happens, but as of right now, the fuel system is pretty much all buttoned up except for cutting that line and putting that fitting on, and then doing that modification to the sending unit. That's gonna be it for this video. I hope you guys liked it. I know it's a lot of little things going on that just have to get done. Next time we'll get into some more stuff, get this thing closer to being finished. So like always, like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and we'll check you later.
For all mine, just steal it. Wheel and deal it.